And joining me now is the former U.S. ambassador to Russia, John Sullivan, and also former Deputy Secretary of State before that. First of all, you're out of the State Department, you're out of the government, and that's got to feel, it would be a great relief. You had a very tough tenure, and thank you for your service. I want to ask you, though, to follow up on all of this, because in that op-ed, the former secretary has also said that Germany should start providing Abrams tanks, that there should be from NATO allies, long-range artillery, something the U.S. has resisted, more ammunition, a whole laundry list of things that Ukraine needs to push back Russia and get them out of the territory they've obtained. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's a recognition of the challenge that the world faces, not just the United States, not just NATO, in Russia's aggression, the aggressive war that Putin has waged on Ukraine. This by a permanent member of the UN Security Council, charged with keeping world peace, has created an enormous festering sore on the continent of Europe. 15 million refugees, thousands upon thousands of innocent people killed. The effect on the world economy. We've got to resist this, absolutely.
Have we, I should say, the American public, become used to the fact that the Zelensky forces have been so resilient, they have pushed back, they're, resisting the devastation, the war crimes, everything that they have suffered? Are we overconfident here? Because can't Russia outlast Ukraine in terms of resources?
Well, I think it's the case. It was certainly from my perspective. I think the U.S. government underestimated the Ukrainians, underestimated President Zelensky in February and March of this year. We could make the same mistake in underestimating President Putin and Russia. It is still a very dangerous country led by a leader who has these messianic imperialist ambitions. It's a very dangerous situation, and we should not underestimate Russia's ability to crush Ukraine, which is ultimately President Putin's goal, which he's never disavowed.
And how isolated and detached from the military realities is he, or is it his ability to withstand any number of privations because of his complete control over the Russian people, over the media?
I think that's another area where we may overestimate Putin's detachment. I think his the public perception of him was carefully curated by the Kremlin at the start of the war to say, this is a special military operation. We've got this under control, not a big deal. And therefore, Putin is not seen engaging with his military, meeting with soldiers. This is a special military operation that is going according to plan. Of course, the battlefield reverses the fact that they had their Black Sea flagship ship sunk. They've had, over 100,000 casualties. Putin's now had to change tack in his the public's perception of his leadership. He's now more engaged. You see him being seen meeting with soldiers. And it's very careful messaging to the Russian people that he's in charge and trying to regain and retain their confidence in this, what he still calls a special military operation.
You were ambassador, you were deputy secretary, and then you were ambassador during the period of the conviction of Paul Whelan.
Yes.
And incarceration, of course, and the arrest and incarceration of Brittany Griner. The Russians refused to release Paul Whelan. They say falsely that he's a spy, and the U.S. says that they don't have a spy to trade for him. Is this a dead end? Where do you see negotiations for Paul Whelan to get out?
Well, we could add other Americans to the list, Andrea. Trevor Reed, of course, who was released last year. The Russians have a dreadful program of arresting Americans, and the more high-profile they are, like Brittany Griner, the better, because we in the United States care about, and we in the U.S. government care about getting our U.S. citizens home. The Russians, President Putin, the Kremlin, don't have a similar concern about Russians who are arrested in the United States or get convicted of crimes in the United States. So it's an asymmetric advantage for them. Pick up an American, fabricate some charges, sentence them in the case of Trevor Reed or Brittany Griner to 9 years in prison. Paul Whelan, phony espionage case, 16 years in a labor camp.
Is there any way to get him out?
Sure.
Are there talks now?
I've been out of the discussions for several months, Andrea, but I was up to my eyeballs in them until I left Moscow in September. There are constant discussions within the U.S. government about what we can do to try to convince the Russians to release Paul.
But do we have Russian counterparts at some level?
That's a very careful review that's been going on for a long time, both within the U.S. government and outside the U.S. government, of what could be offered for someone like Paul, who's falsely accused of being a spy. And from the Russians' perspective, he's worth a lot from their perspective because they claim he's a spy. They falsely convicted him in a secret trial of being a spy, and now they want something extremely valuable in return, and they're prepared to wait for that.
Well over a year ago, you lost the use of 182 Russian local employees at the embassy. What was it like? Because I was told that it hampered your ability to get around town.
Yeah.
Your driver, maybe?
Yep.
I mean, how did you do business without 182? This was Putin's tit for tat with us.
Even more seriously, so there were 182 Russian nationals that we were forced to separate. We aren't able to get visas for U.S. officers to come into the country. There are inconveniences, as you mentioned, Andrea, and restrictions on my ability to travel around Moscow, but there are more significant things. For example, our fire suppression system, the water pumps in the basement of our chancery failed because they hadn't been serviced as was needed because we didn't have the techs to do it. If there'd been a fire, our fire sprinklers wouldn't have worked. So it's more than just inconvenience or adversely affecting diplomacy. There are serious health and safety risks. Fortunately, we were able to get those water pumps fixed, but it's an example of how this is a serious problem. And we've been engaged, both as deputy secretary and as ambassador, for almost 6 years trying to solve this problem. The bottom line is the Russians have more diplomats here in the United States. We have many fewer in Russia. And if it's a race to the bottom in expulsions, we're going to get to zero before they do.
I have so many more questions to ask you. Will you come back soon?
Love to. Thank you. It's great being with you.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you. You had some really hard duty there and under the worst possible conditions. And you stayed longer than anyone could have expected.
You're very kind.
For you and your family. Thank you.